So I live in rural Midwest United States. I'm in the middle of nowhere in thick woods. It's a 20-minute drive to the nearest town, and my family owns about a good couple miles of woods around my house. The property my house is on was originally hunting land my dad bought and cut trees down in and built our house on. Back in like the early 2000s, late 90s. Exposition out of the way. Time for the creepy stories. The earliest one I can remember is faint because I was young, like at least 8 or 9 years old, but I was outside at night just hanging around our back door, which had a bright light above it that illuminated a good 30 feet. I'm playing, doing 9-year-old things, and I heard what sounded like someone go past in my ear and touch my back, and I immediately sprinted inside. Stuff like this happens all the time here. Now time for the unbelievable story. So I'm home alone a lot because my stepfather works out of state during the summer, and my mom is a freelance photographer and also goes to work with him because she can't be away from him for more than 3 seconds. This happened when I was around 12 years old. I was home alone for about 2 weeks. Other than the normal paranoia the creepypasta addicted me would have not much happened until around Wednesday the second week. It was like 12 a.m. and I was in the kitchen with 2 large windows which face a corner of my house, a pool, a large pond, and a tree line. I would show a photo, but I don't know how, tongue sticking out, but anyway, I was standing in the kitchen in front of this window was where our microwave was. At the time I was making something to eat when I looked up and saw something, what looked to be someone running on all fours, run around the pool, dip behind the corner of my house, then circle around the pond and stand up on 2 legs and just stand in the tree line before sprinting into the woods. Safe to say I hunkered down in my room without sleeping that night and spent the rest of the week at a family member's house. Now if you want to hear about how fucking fucked those woods are, DM me because it's an even longer story. Smiley face. Sorry for so much rambling, I'm not good at summarizing. Again, I don't know how to attach images and text, so if a mod would be as kind to let me DM them a picture of the window I was talking about and any other evidence, I would really appreciate it. I've been working overnight in a nuclear facility for a few months now. I've seen UFOs flying above on a nightly basis, without fail. They're not stars. 1. Their positions don't match up on any star map iPhone app. 2. And their lights flicker, brighter, darker. Sometimes one will turn completely off and then turn back on again. 3. One of them, the biggest one, is orange. 4. They will move locations, either 4A, oscillating back and forth, or 4B, moving to one spot in the sky and then returning back to its original location. 5. When the sun rises, some of them will fly back quickly toward the sun/the horizon, and for some reason I won't be able to see them anymore, like they've turned out their headlights. I haven't filmed them, as one Redditor and I were talking about, for a couple reasons. 1. They're not bothering me. Why should I bother them? They're just trying to get through their workday too, like I am. 2. I couldn't imagine that our government does not know where they're located. I'm not the most important person to know they're there every single night. 3. There's so many, from 16-20 plus of them, that now I finally understand why all of those documentaries that we see have people in power saying things like, there are so many among us, we cannot allow it to become common knowledge because it would cause a panic. 4. I suppose aliens get curious when we start messing with nuclear fission, and that may be why there are such a large concentration of them there, above that building every night. 5. Who would believe me? People would explain it away. I'm a believer in this kind of thing, so I've become more accustomed to it as time passes. I'm writing to see if anyone can give me any information, because I'm curious about what I experienced last week. I've been having some strange paranormal things happening to me lately. One of them is I've been able to sense the movement of energy and see auras. Last week on one of my breaks, I went out behind the building, sat on the ground and leaned my back against the building. I suddenly got an overwhelming feeling of intense fatigue, which quickly turned into a feeling of drunkenness. I've been sober since February 2022, almost a year, so as soon as I felt this feeling of drunkenness, I was immediately confused. Then I realized that it was because something was leeching energy from me. I looked to my left and there was a static Y field of energy, or where I assumed the entity that was leeching my energy was physically located. Then I looked straight, a few feet from where I was sitting while this happened to me, as I was still sitting on the ground with my back on the building, and I see. I swear to God I'm not lying. This 1.5 to 2.0 foot tall, short, I'm pausing as I type this because typing it and sharing the story means I'm admitting this really happened, static Y looking, humanoid figure which I would most closely identify as looking like the general definition of a capital G gray alien. With the black almond eyes, for some reason its mouth was open, its mouth hole was black. Its entire body looked like static. I think it was trying to cloak itself from my awareness or view, which is why it looked too staticky to me. I don't know if it was the thing that was trying to take my energy, or if it was simply watching energy being taken from me by a third party. I will add that this facility is known by many of the staff to be haunted, which has nothing to do with aliens, but I've seen/felt other non-alien entities within the building before, but nothing exactly like this. A coworker of mine saw what she claims to be a shadow person in the bathroom. Does anyone have any insight on this? On either what I saw that seemed to be a gray, or the other thing, which may have been taking my energy. So I'm well aware of cold spots indicating that there's some sort of paranormal energy present. But my wife brought me a basket of clothes last night that were hot, like taken out of the dryer hot but only in the middle of the basket. The top layer and bottom layer of clothes were cold. The first thing I asked her was if our dryer was working again. Our dryer died on us last week and we're currently waiting for our new one to be delivered this week. She told me she had just gotten this basket out of the spare bedroom. Today she sent me a text to further explain so that I can post it here and see if anyone else has experienced this. I'm just going to copy and paste here. When we came back from vacation I washed all of the clothes in my suitcase. I had 2 loads. The second load had more vacation-type clothes that needed to be put away so they remained in a basket. It was in the spare BR, not on top of a vent or near anything warm. I have reached into that basket on few occasions and there was an unusual warm spot of clothes only in the center of the basket. It was like the clothes had came out the dryer and the heat was still in the middle. The first few times this happened, same basket each time, I pulled the items out and nothing unusual was in there. Put the clothes back in. When I put them back in they were completely cool. Because this happened in the exact same manner, this is unusual. Her voice was shaky last night when she brought the basket to me. She repeatedly said that she's glad I'm finally home when this happened so that I can see for myself and wouldn't think she's crazy. We've had our fair share of paranormal experiences. A good friend of mine is a medium. It took me years to believe this BTW. I've not asked her about this yet, but I told my wife I'd post and see if anyone else knows about hot spots. I'm sleeping on a couch, just thought of something that almost soiled me undies. I always dismiss the sounds of things slapping and flapping and cracking around the plex as just the house doing what it usually does, physics and gravity. But I've been hearing papers being slapped, dishes shifting, light thumps, sounds of cloth being rubbed together, clickings. In the kitchen and my bedroom. It's 3 a.m. so I'm probably about to get jump scared by Freddy Fazbear or get my toes touched. So should get some ZZZ. Got church tomorrow, so if there's anything you recommend I should say to the Lord. Keep it, because I'm not going. Serious question by the way, I'm trying to calm myself. I just heard a thump and another noise, everyone's asleep and the heater is off. Anyone experiencing this? Last night at about 12:26, I was taking a walk to a nearby school for a haunted experience but wasn't really experiencing anything. Anyway, I'm at front and some guy comes out of nowhere, but I don't think much of it. He starts walking over to me without saying a word and I noticed his clothes looked like they were from 1970 or something old. I asked, "Do you go to the school?" and he stopped walking to me and just looked at the school for a creepy long time. After that he started to walk into the field. I was getting creeped out, so I wanted to leave. I got up to leave and noticed he wasn't there anymore. It was only seconds. I turned my back and stood up and he was just gone. I left immediately. And it's a giant field with nowhere to go except the front. So there's absolutely nowhere they could have gone in seconds. Hello everyone, I'm Price20M. The contents of this post do not represent the DoD or US Navy in any way. To start off, here is a little background info. I myself have never been a believer of the paranormal in any way. I have never been religious. I have always identified myself as an atheist. For the past 2 years I have been serving in the US Navy, and this encounter happened about a year and a half ago. So around that time I was at Naval Station Great Lakes, Illinois. It was a Saturday and I didn't have anything really going on. It was a quiet night and I went to sleep somewhat early, around 10 p.m. or so. I was in my room along with my roommate. I watch a few episodes of Family Guy and then I fall asleep. The only thing I can remember from that point on was randomly opening my eyes and the room being very cold, like so cold I could see the exhale from my nose. After that can feel a hand start to grab and grope my male area. After that I tried to move my legs together, but I remember being freaked out too because I literally couldn't move my legs in any way. So then I tried to move my arms, but I couldn't move them either. After that I started screaming, but realized shortly after that my mouth wasn't even open. I opened my eyes and saw a pitch black figure with red eyes literally directly in front of my face. I started shaking and screaming even more, but this time my mouth was open. Shortly after I guess I passed out or went back to sleep, because the next thing I remember is waking up to sunlight and my roommate's alarm going off. I asked him if he heard my screaming or anything and he said not at all. This event was still very vivid in my mind. I knew that it wasn't a dream or nightmare of any kind because I've never remembered them in my entire life. After thinking about it, I guess I just wrote it off as a bad nightmare and moved on. But I've been having doubts about it more and more because it's been this long and I still remember it so vividly. Prior to this incident I've never dealt with sleep paralysis of any kind, and I haven't been through anything like it since that night. If anyone has had this sort of thing happen, please let me know and how it was for you or what it could be.
Mosey on down to the Atomic Shaman Trading Post. We have t-shirts, decals, refrigerator magnets and other swag for sale. What better way to show your support for the show? Our merch can only be found on t.pub/link/Atomic Shaman Trading Post. Like, share and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to ring the notification bell. You can follow us on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Catch the live streams on Rumble. Listen to text-to-speech stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube.